Welcome, 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 everyone. It is Raquel May David. Thank you so much for your patience today. We are in the midst of traveling, so needless to say, the camera's a little fugly. We might switch cameras. Let's work with it and see how this goes. Hey, I'm your host, Raquel May David. My co-host is David Sanchez. We have our mod in the chat, JM. So we are so happy that you guys are here today. I want to make sure everyone can hear me okay. Can you hear me okay, David? Can you hear me? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. How is everyone's night? What questions do we have today? Still no word on Kong. Thank you so much for that message. I actually have a follow-up. Hold on. Let me open the chat as well. Hunter, I did send a message over to Dominique about Kong, and they are aware of what's going on. I would say, can you give me until, if you can personally message me your phone number, I'm going to be calling Dominique tomorrow. And I'm going to see what the answers and the responses, and then I can call you and let you know kind of the response that I've gotten. Does that make sense? So as a matter of fact, I will send you, and I'm going to send you my info right now. I'll send out my information here. I think that's my number. Okay. Thank you so much. If you could just send me a quick text message, it will be my pleasure, because I do have a conversation with him tomorrow, and I would like to make sure that the Kong thing is settled. From my understanding that there was a meeting. I don't know why this gray situation is out here, y'all, because we don't need any blur. There we go. That way we won't have that stagnation. All right. So there was an update that I wanted to cover that we had correct, and I wanted to go ahead and make sure that we have the right info. So on last Thursday's call, the question was if we have the social security or name, or address or any information incorrect, when you send the client portal link to the actual company, to the actual client, can the clients make edits? And the answer is yes, the clients can edit the information in the actual platform once you send them the safe client access. So if you put in the social security number, they do have the ability to go ahead and edit that information. So I wanted to come back since I was able to speak to back office, and JM confirmed with me as well. So we are able to do that. I was just having the same issue as well. G, what issue are you having? Or is the issue you're having is with Kong? I want to make sure that I'm understanding. Or was it the customer's information? Yes, or Kong. Okay. So if you want to send me a quick text message, just text Kong. I do have a couple of meetings in the morning, but I am meeting with Dominique, so I can go ahead and actually ask him a question and kind of follow up with you guys once I hear a response back on how you should pivot, because I want to make sure everyone's being supported properly. Great question. All right, let me go ahead and move the chat. So, having the same problem. Yep. Did you get G, did you get my phone number in the chat? If you didn't, let me know. I'll plug it back in the chat for you guys. Awesome, awesome. Just go ahead and send me a message and just put Kong so I know what's going on. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Steve. Steven's my favorite.
You're my favorite.
Yum yum. Hey guys. All right. So we're here today. What questions do you guys have on the system, the software? What did you guys come with today? Because I want to make sure that I'm answering whatever questions you guys have for the Pro platform. There we go. Let's get everybody together. Get the chat. Participants. over. Any questions? Okay, how long does it take to hear something back after you have done a round of attack? Um, situated, I think that's what that says. That is a great question. So it does depend on the credit bureau. So sometimes you can get something back as quickly as 15 days, but legally, the verbiage that is in the Fair Credit Reporting Act and in the documentation is that we are supposed to give the credit bureau 30 days to process the paperwork. So if you are mailing, you are supposed to do 5 days. If you're putting it in the mail, give them 5 days for them to receive it, 30 days for them to work it, and then roughly 5 days for it to get back to you. Now, please bear in mind that Experian has been lately sending email confirmations. So if you're a client or if your customer is a client, they may get email updates, but you still want to follow the guidelines of that 30-day work window from when you mailed it out. So for me, if I mail on Tuesday, I give them 5 days from Tuesday, and then I start the counter at 30 days, and then I should be getting documents back. So normally in my email sequence on day 14, I'm telling my client to check their email, check their mail. I'm doing it again on day 21. I'm doing it again on day 27. Any words on the form to onboard clients? So again, are you talking, I'm sorry, G, that conversation that we had, currently the form that is available is working through Kong. So if you're having issue with Kong automation, we are in the process. So Hunter, I think the form that G was talking about was he wanted a landing page form. So once they filled that information out, it would automatically upload. Is that correct, G? Or are we talking about a different form? If it is, come off of mute and let's dip and do and talk together. Because there is an onboarding form. You just have to create the payment option. So definitely come off mute if you have questions so I can make sure that I'm answering them precisely. Okay, no problem. Barry, go ahead and come off of mute. What questions do you have today, my love?
Good evening. Thank you, Raquel. On the payment, as far as the merchant account, I have pay it. Would I be able to input that into Panda, the Speak Panda?
As long as you have an API and a transaction key, you can utilize it. So does Pay It give you an API login ID?
I got to check. I just signed up. I got approval for it the other day. So I'll find out. I just wanted to make sure that he had that question before.
Yeah, I know that Proven is one. I know that Goat is one. As long as the merchant service provider that you're using gives you an API login or gives you the transaction key, you are able to log it into the screen that I'm showing you now, and you're good to go.
All right, thank you.
My pleasure. Great question. And JM dropped some merchant service information for our Proven and also the video on how to accept payments. Any other questions? Ooh, let me move y'all over here so I can actually look at the right screen. So after I do the attack, what should I do? Wait for the results? So yes, according to the profile, you're supposed to send out the round of letters. So situated, are you able to come off of mute? I'm not quite sure if you're able to come off of mute or not. Not at the moment. No, that's fine. So I want to make sure I'm answering the right question. So when you send out your round of attacks, you are going to wait the allotted 30 days because you're not supposed to pull your credit report. If you're using Credit Dyno, you're not pulling your credit report until day 35. If you're using other softwares, you cannot pull it to get an updated one until the 30-day window anyway, right? So at that point, what you're going to do is you're going to wait for a response from all of the credit bureaus. And if you have a stall letter, you're going to be able to respond accordingly. Sometimes you get the stall letter very quickly. So it depends on what comes back. So I don't want to just focus on results. You are waiting for a response from the credit bureaus. And if you sent to the third party providers, you're waiting for a response from them as well. Great question. And then after that 35-day window, you should be updating your credit report. You should be able to look at the credit report and see if there's any changes, any deletes, any removals. And then you would go on to the next round of disputes. Great question. Any other questions, guys? It's an open floor for us to cover my pleasure. I want to make sure that I'm covering everything that you guys need. Oh, y'all, I thought I dropped my headphones in water. I need to know. Any other questions? Nope, we have someone new. All right, all right. Welcome to the room. Welcome to the room. I think that's a key. Does anyone else have any questions or concerns? So just to let you guys know, on today's call, we are covering Dispute Panda Pro. If you guys have any questions on letters, the system, profiles, how to become an affiliate, anything like that, you can let me know. And it is my pleasure to support. Ooh, Lord. Sorry, y'all. Okay. It seems most of the viewers are sending out stall letters these days. How do you attach the stall letter? Okay, so hold on a second. Before your question, Steve, Hunter says no question at the moment. I'm kind of at a standstill until I get my landing page. Got it. And I will make sure to follow up with you tomorrow and you can send me a text. I am currently on the East Coast. So I'm an hour ahead. I'm normally in Texas. So if you want to send me a text about 2:00, that'd be fine. But as soon as I hear back and my meetings are done, I'm going to reach out to everyone about Kong and tell you the information that I have accessible. My pleasure, Hunter. So Stevie said, okay, so Stevie, you and I had a conversation and in our one-on-one that we had, I sent you the actual stall letter. I sent you the preemptive letter that I utilize. So yeah, in the email that I gave you one that's supposed to be a personal information letter, and I gave you one that's a stall letter because of our meeting. You automatically get that. That's the one that I said I send on day one, and then I do my first round. So that way they get remove these addresses, remove these, it was addresses, names, and phone numbers and employers. I think if it's not phone numbers, it's definitely employers. But if you look at it, it says remove, remove, remove. If you do not have it or you cannot find it in your email, let me know so I can re-email it to you. Because that is something that you get for free for booking the one-on-one with me. But what you would do with your client, so moving forward, since you already have the documentation, right? What you would do is as soon as the client comes on board and uploads their ID and all that information, you would send out that personal information letter that basically has, it's the same verbiage that's in the stall letter that's in the system, but it's formatted to make it be an announcement and not an aftermath. Does that make sense? So you're giving them the announcement. You're saying, hey, by the way, this is the information. This is my only name. This is my only address. And then you start the disputing. When I do it that way, I've noticed that I have not gotten as many stalls as other people get because I've already made the announcement that I'm going to be disputing my credit profile. So you have a stall letter and you have a personal information letter. You should have both.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And how did you did a very clever thing. You attached it into the dispute attack. Were you?
Yeah, so you can do it. Hold on one second. Let me go to clients. Let's see how many clients we got here. All right, let's go to Jan. So if you wanted to, you can save that particular document and then you would have to, of course, go to dispute first and save whatever account you want. So if you're doing it with the dispute, so to your point, if you're going to send that letter and that will be technically your cover page, you can literally just pick one of each credit bureau, just print out that letter, but you would go ahead and upload it. So in the Pro, you're able to upload the documents here. So we're gonna, hold on. So right here where it says additional documents, you can actually fill it out, save it on the computer, and then add it here, and then it will automatically print with all of the letters you have going out. So that is the way that you can leverage the letter I gave you. Absolutely.
Thank you.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Any other questions, guys? But the stall letter that's in the system, it is user friendly. I have told a lot of, like, I have another gentleman who actually took the stall letter and made what I call an introduction letter, which is just alerting the credit bureau. The only difference is he did not have the name, the address, and the employer that needed to be removed listed on his letter. So mine's a little bit more intricate because I want them to know I know these things need to be removed before we even get started so that there's no issues or problems. So great question, Steve. It's Stevie. I like Stevie. Any other questions? Hey, Dave, welcome to the room. Do you have any questions, concerns, or comments? Ooh, what's happening? David, I think someone is trying to come into the room. Okay, there we go. I see it. Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's my pleasure, Hunter. I want to make sure you guys have everything that you need. And I don't want you to have to wait until next Thursday. So that way you can have an answer before the end of business. And if you are waiting, it's more because like you're just waiting to see the results, not waiting for someone to connect with you. Any other questions? Aki, did you have any questions about Dispute Panda Pro? Did you have any questions, my love? Hi, Raquel. Just got on. Did I miss document shared? So no documents have been shared as of yet. The question that was asked was, how can you proactively stop the stall letters from happening? Excuse me, the person that asked had already completed a one-on-one consult with me. So I did give him my proactive letter from that meeting. I call it an introductory letter. And I've sent that information over to him after our call. So I was showing him how he can upload it into the system so that when he wants the letters to go out, that letter would be included with the first round of disputes to help with him not having to worry about stalling. However, if you've already sent out your first round of disputes, you would literally come here, you would go to the static letters, and you would go to the stall. You would fill out the date that you sent in your last request. And because you guys are pro, I want to make sure that we're clear. Because you guys are pro, you have the ability to go ahead and automatically upload the last dispute letter that you had, so the stall letter and the dispute letter can go out together. Yep, so for Zoom user, I'm not quite sure who you are, but you can use the stall letter that we're talking about right now, and then you would resend, I think this is Experian. I'm trying to get it bigger, y'all. Hold on. You know, my eyes is vintage now. Hold on now. Hold on. You can go ahead and, since you guys have Pro, you would, hold on. I think this is Experian that you're showing me, love. Yep, it says Experian. Okay, I want to make sure I can see it. So you would actually come here. You can you can actually save the downloaded attack. You would add it into documents here. You would click stall, and the date that you originally printed that letter is what you would put here, the date that you mailed it out, whichever one. If there are two different dates, you could use the mail date. You would put that here, and then you would hit start round and send that information out. Remember, all static letters are free. So as long as you have $1 in your bank, you are able to go ahead and print out the stall letter for the free. No problem, Dave. No problem, Dave. I wanted to make sure that you guys have what you needed. Any other questions or concerns? And David Sanchez, our co-host, did drop the link for you to watch any of the pros or the standard Dispute Fox videos, Dispute Panda Pro videos you can watch on replay. It is in the chat for you to be able to utilize. But yes, Zoom user, for that response, you would come here, click on the static letter, select stall, and you would resend. Now, again, one of the things you want to point out is how long it has been. If that email or that message just got to you, then you want to get this stall response out like today, okay? If it has been a while, meaning 30 days, you can elect to do the stall letter and attach it to the next round of letters that you have going on. So we download and add the last round to the stall letter under the additional dot. Yes, you can do that if you are in that time window. So let's say you got that response on day 10 or day 15, right? You're going to go into the system and you would literally download all. You would put the downloaded document. So you would just select the document for whichever credit bureau you're wanting. Or if you've got installed from everyone, you can just literally copy the documents and go ahead and add it in here. You can drag and drop the file, and then you would just complete the date you sent this off and then mail all of the packet out. I do not recommend sending out the stall letter without the round that they stalled on, because I want to hold you accountable and I want you to know what you did not do. And the reason why I say that is sometimes they will stall you out, but remember, sometimes the client gets, so hold on, let me close this. So understand that the credit bureau are getting multiple letters, right? So depending on how late the situation is, you may have gotten a stall response for one letter, but you may not have gotten a stall response for the others, and you're getting that notice in the mail, right? So if you're not tracking, and it is good, sometimes it's very difficult to see which letter was stalled on. It can be difficult. So for safety purposes or for CYOA for myself, I normally just resend the whole thing, because if you said you weren't going to work on it, I don't know which letter you might decide to work on. But you always send, for best practices, you want to send the stall letter with the actual dispute round that was not worked before you move forward. If that 35-day window has happened, you can choose to move forward, or you can choose to resend the prior document. Good question. Anything else, guys?
Hello, Raquel.
Hey,
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great.
Um, I think you kind of answered it, but the form I was talking about was you was trying to see if Dispute Panda was gonna have a form kind of like the one that's attached to the payment package thing, that if they're gonna have a form that is standalone by itself that you can send out. I think we was talking about that last call.
I want to make sure so are you talking about the form for them to sign up for Dispute Panda? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's attached to the payment thing. Um, the payment plan thing. Remember we was talking last week?
Okay, did you send the message to the back office to ask them about that?
Oh, you know what? No, I didn't. I'm sorry. I dropped the ball on that.
Because I'm not quite sure, because from my understanding, because what you're trying to do is make them be able to onboard and pay at the same time. Is that correct?
Well, I just need them to onboard because I have my own. I use QuickBooks for my payment processing, and invoice and everything is sent by DocuSign.
Okay.
So yeah, so I was just the only thing I just needed was that form, that's already built into Dispute Panda, but I just don't need the see how it says onboarding only, but I can't get to that without the payment thing, but I don't need the payment thing. You get
Well,
what I'm
it
saying?
says onboard only. So you're saying when you click onboard only, it doesn't give you the option to create this form?
No, because it says I didn't pick a payment plan or something like that.
You're
So
talking
like it
about,
won't. Yeah, see how it's blacked out right there?
but you still have to pick a payment plan. Because you have to tell the system, I don't know if the system, hold on a second. He just has to create a payment plan, but doesn't have to use it. That's what I was gonna say. So what you may have to do is put a payment plan in the system, but you know what? I'm gonna ask JM. I would say send a message to the back office and see if they can ask them if they can create a workaround that does not require a plan. I hear what you're saying, that you're saying you have a separate system that pays, right? You're saying I use QuickBooks to invoice them. It goes with everything. So when DocuSign is sending them, what is DocuSign sending them? The contract and the payment link?
Yes, ma'am. Since the contract, the invoice, and the credit card authorization for
Okay.
recurrent billing.
So where is your contract at? Is it already in Dispute Panda?
No, it's in DocuSign.
So your contract, your credit authorization form, and your invoice is all going out with QuickBooks.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have different pricing plans?
Do I have different pricing plans? I can adjust in my contract, I can adjust the price. Well, I have two. I do have two. I have two different ones. Because I recently just created another one for because some people they have like I had one lady, she had like it was like 40 some accounts or whatever. So that's gonna be, so I created a plan that's higher than the my normal plan. So I just recently did that. So I do have two.
Okay, so I'm with Dave. The workaround right now, especially since we're working with trying to clarify Kong, because Kong would be the easy solution to integrate. Until we can get Kong situated, I would say create both plans, like create a payment plan for one of your pricing points and a payment plan for the next. And that way you will have two onboarding only sign up forms, and you can then pick which one you're going to send out. If you only
Okay, I
have
got you.
one product, then I would say, then you wouldn't have to worry about it. You just create one payment form, one plan, and you're good to go. But since you have multiple, just create two onboardings for right now until we can get Kong situated.
Okay.
Okay,
And
great.
I had another question. I had talked to Dominique about this a while ago. On Dispute Panda has a referral thing.
Yep.
And I remember he said that it wasn't live or they was working on it. I
Yep.
was just wondering, you know, are they going to have that live soon or?
So I have not gotten the launch date as of yet, but once I get it, I will be bringing it to the pro. Well, I'll be bringing it to both calls so that people will know. Have you already filled out the form? Because if you are, you're already on the list.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so if you've already filled it out, you're already on the list. This is just me being being a business-minded person, what I would say is if you do proactively send that information over to send this to like a real estate person or whatever, what I would recommend at that point is you just go ahead and take their name, their email and stuff down. And that way, if they do sign up for the platform, you see them in the room, you can just shoot an email to support to say, hey, I referred that person. So that if they do decide to backdate it or anything like that, you'd be able to get the credit for that person.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? David, look at you. I love out of box thinkers because I'm like, yeah, we could just go ahead and create a form and just put a payment on there. I love it. Solutions based until we can get the official built the way we want to. Come on, Dave. I love it. Any other questions, guys? Aki, did you have a question for me?
Yes.
Hey, how can I help?
Hi, how you doing? Yeah, I
I'm
was
good.
on I think I thought I heard you say my name, but I was on a call with customer service for something. But yeah, I just had a quick question
Okay.
pertaining to the portal, like
Uh-huh.
the portal for the client, how you be able to like you send them a message or send them like how's the client get the portal, or is that not up and running yet?
Are you talking about the Safe Client Portal where you can email the client?
Yeah, on the pro, yes.
Okay, so you would have to turn that on for them. So you can do this here on the client's profile. You can send them the secured client access invite. And that way
Uh,
that email will go out to them. If you are doing it for a new client, because you already have the pro, if you scroll down to the bottom, it says invite client to safe client access. So you would check this button once you've entered all the information in and hit save, and it will automatically send them that email.
okay, thank you very much.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Any other questions, guys?
I know earlier you had put in the chat some payment processors. I
Uh-huh.
switched from my phone to my computer and I can't get the old chat. Could
No
y'all
problem.
re-put that in the chat, please?
Absolutely. Hunter also dropped a payment link in the form. I'm gonna click it so we can see it. Come on, Hunter. I like sharing. Come on, somebody. Sharing is caring. JM, can you redrop the payment information in the chat when you have a moment, my darling? So Hunter shared with us his onboarding form. Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. Let me put an email in here. Now don't you. Let's hit continue. Yeah, so earlier, I think you dropped the link for, dropped the link for proven payments and you dropped the YouTube video. So he has an onboarding form with all of the information, collects everything. This is a simple onboarding form. So is this what you were looking to do, G?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So his workaround, it does not have any payment information in it. His workaround from what he's saying in the notes is that he just didn't add, he just added a plan because it's just an onboarding form only. It's not going to send the payment information.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. Come
Thank
on,
you.
Saturday, Dave. My pleasure, because teamwork is a dream work. Come on now. All right. I love this. You guys are so awesome. I love that, Dave. Thank you so much. Yay. All right. And JM dropped in the chat the payment YouTube video as well as the merchant service contact information. So if you guys switched over, you'd still be able to get it. Any other questions or concerns? Dave, I love it. You are a gem. Hey, welcome to the room, KP and Rodney Dukes. Do you guys have any questions about the software, processing, systems?
I have one other question, if you don't mind me
What
asking.
other question? No problem. What other question do you have?
I know I think it was, man, it was like November maybe, or I think it was November when Dominique was doing the call. He had put up you know how you can create your own message to do a dispute on an account?
Yep.
He had shared with us a script that he usually use to put in there to for late payments or anything like that. Do you have any tips like that that you use to put in there to get results faster?
Oh, I use the late payment letter that is now in the system. So the verbiage that Dominique gave us is now in a letter. And the AI changes the verbiage as well, of course, to kind of make sure that it's unique. But that information is already in the system. So if you're asking about processing, if you're asking about the late payment verbiage, there is a letter that is already in the system that the system will acknowledge when that account is a late payment and specifically use that verbiage instead of using the dispute verbiage. Does that make sense?
Right. And yeah, this is another, I'm glad you said that because it's prompted another question.
Okay.
Is there any way to, so like, you know how you said that the AI already generates the dispute language?
Mhm.
Is there any way to preview the letter before you confirm it to see if you
No.
like that verbiage or
No.
if you want to change it?
Not at this present time.
Not at this present time. Gotcha.
That's a great question though.
Yeah,
Right now,
because sometimes some of the things, like there was a couple of times the way it was saying and the letter, I didn't like it too much, so I just got it and redid it.
yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So I was
Yeah.
just wondering if there was a way to, if we can look at what the AI is saying. If we like it, we roll with it. If we don't, we can go back in there and just add our own custom message in there, and then have it spit it back out.
No, not at this time. Everything is done, it's generated for you. And then it spits out the letter. Because remember, when you're hitting confirm, it's just processing all of the information with the data points that was in there and spitting you out the verbiage. So the only way for you to make any changes would be after the letter comes out.
Got you. And also too, I noticed this happened the last 2 times with a couple of clients. So they went to go mail the letter off with the address that the engine spit out for the collector, the creditor letter.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 clients, when they went to the post office, they was like, this address is not valid. They did update the address to whatever new address they sent it to. But I noticed I thought it was a fluke the first time, but it happened another time where my client sent off the letter and it got returned back because the address wasn't correct. Is that the case?
Address?
Huh?
You're talking about this address that's listed for that creditor, or are you talking about the address for the credit bureau?
Creditor.
Okay, so what I normally do when that situation happens, if the address that is being reported on the credit report comes back as not a valid address, I'm taking a picture of that, like I'm photocopying that particular information, and then I'm sending that photocopy of that return mail to the credit bureau stating that this item has to be removed because I don't have a valid address for this collector. And
Awesome. Okay.
legally, if that collector is asking for payment, I need to be able to come to speak with you. If I can't speak with you, if I can't mail documents and be in correspondence, but this is what's on the paperwork, then yeah, there's a problem. So I love when the mail comes back as undeliverable, because I'm not going back to the post office to get an updated address. I'm photocopying that and sending that to the credit bureau.
So is there a static letter you use, or you just pretty much
I
just,
don't use any static
write
letters.
out?
That is my verbiage.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I don't use any static letter. That is my verbiage. According to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, I have to have ability to contact the client. There is a code. You can look the code up and basically include the code in the letter, but that is a handwritten letter that I personally write for my clients.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, I'll do that.
No problem. Great questions. So yeah, because when I have clients, they're first of all, when I'm disputing bankruptcies, I think there's over like 17 different secondary bureaus that hold bankruptcies, evictions, repos. So I'm not just sending letters to just the ones that are in Dispute Panda. So that's why I say the Dispute Panda file is great. It is very effective and efficient for you guys to work, especially if you're just coming into the market and you're needing to hit the ground running, or if you're seasoned, the letters print so quickly. I love Dispute Panda. Just different nuances that people may not be aware of, because once they give me that return from sender, that's gold for me. Oh, wait a minute, you can't find them. This is not their address. They're not at that location anymore, but it's on my credit report that I just pulled. You gotta be quicker than that. I love that. That's great questions, Mr. G. Any other questions or concerns?
Yeah, I do have another question.
Okay.
So, I'm working on a bankruptcy. I sent the letter off to the court to get the response that, they don't report to third parties and credit bureaus. But I already got back the response from the secondary saying they never had or don't have a record of this right here. So do I have to wait for the court letter, or I can already just go ahead and send off what I got from the secondary?
I would send off what I have, because if you get something from the courts, then you can send that off as well. But if you already have information, send that information off to the credit bureau.
Yes. Okay.
That gives you burden of proof. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you, man.
My pleasure. And just to kind of like segue the comment that Mr. G was saying about custom letters, if you guys have custom letters that you want to, this was a conversation that we did have last Thursday, but you can go ahead and make your letter up here, and you can save the letter and you can title it whatever the letter is meant to be. And you would literally just you can either use what's here, or you can add something to the folder and create a folder for that specific letter. And this way, every single time you may see that one particular issue, you're able to go ahead and reuse that particular template or so that you don't have to rewrite the flow of anything for that particular creditor. And what would end up happening is, let's say you're on round 3 and it's Punch of Fury, regular, all of the other accounts will come out with a Punch of Fury regular, but this one account would only come out with the letter that you self-generated. So wanted to make sure that we circle back, because that was a great question that I think Mr. G had it last week.
Yeah, and it's funny you said that, because I was thinking about doing that. Because since you showed me that, I have like a bunch of different things I was using before. And sometimes I just know that, just by previous use, I said, like, let me try this, let me try that. And then the last round I had readjusted all of the accounts on one person's credit report. And then I hit, I followed the attack flow and I hit the thing and I hit send. And then I was reading, round kick, all those things. Then I read paralyzing touch point. It sends a letter specifically for that one thing singled out. I was like, dang, I should have did that, and I said, I'm just going to try that next time, but yeah, it's funny you said that, because I was definitely thinking about doing that. Yeah, the paralyzing
touch is my round 5 or my round 6 letter. That is the only time I touch that letter. I've had now I want to be transparent. There have been people that have come onto the call who have said that they used paralyzed touch in round 1 and they got a boost of like, one lady said that she had like 100 and something point increase with that paralyzed touch attack. However, it's a buildup. The conversation is different. Understand the point of paralyzed touch is that it's literally creating a letter for each specific item. So when you are doing that letter, you are spending coins on stamps. Okay. And I like I said, I fax to the credit bureaus as well. So sometimes the fax goes through, sometimes it doesn't. Okay. And it will play with you. But I do definitely think that the paralyzed touch is something that, even with the new flow, I do not take it out of my rotation. That is dedicatedly my round 6 all the time with the new flow. But I love that you're looking at the letters, but yeah, that's funny. And are you tracking, Mr. G?
Yes, ma'am. I have a since I wasn't able to I have a tax business, so I use Moxo, and and I was using that, to track.
Okay.
And I recently imported all the stuff I had on my hard drive over there to basically see what I've been sending and what has been working. And that's what prompted me to read the letters to see what the AI is actually saying.
Right.
Because yeah, just trying to learn. But yeah, I am paying attention to what I'm sending. And also too, the CFPB around 5, I think it was 5 or 6.
Okay. Yeah, I like the CFPB. I don't do that. I outsource that. Because I don't like to play with it. Look, I know what I love to do. I love to coach. I love to do the consultation. Hey, Mr. Dukes, did you have a question? Mr. Dukes? Oh, nope.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't have a question. I did have a question, but the one question I had was like, is it possible if you have a closed account for the creditor to still make it add on as a late payment, or if you have a closed account?
If it was closed because it was in the late status, it's still going to be showing late until it
No.
drops.
If the account was closed by the creditor, and it, is it still possible for that creditor to still add a late payment to it?
So my question to that would be, when the account, before the account was closed by the creditor, was there a balance that your client or you may have owed?
Yeah, there was a balance, but they were never late.
But if there was a balance that was owed, the account was closed, and that balance wasn't paid, it would then move them into late payment. So my
Okay.
question would be, did they pay off the balance when the creditor closed the account?
No. The balance was not paid. The creditor just closed the account.
Right. So accreditors can close accounts at any time. If you're not really using the card the way that they want you to, if you're they can close if their accounts flag you as a risk. That creditor can choose to close the account or lower. Most of the time what they do first is lower the limits, and then
Yep.
they'll subsequently close, right? But if
Yep.
there was balance that was due when that account was closed and that balance was not paid, they are then going to be reported as late. And it will keep reporting as late until that creditor charges that account off.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So they're not
All right.
violating anything because that balance was still owed, even though that account was closed.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Any other questions, guys?
Yeah, I do. What is the best way? The hardest thing is sometimes is to get personal information cleaned up,
Mhm.
even though I send out the well, you know, it already generates a personal information letter each time you send the attack,
Mhm.
but they still, in some instances, they still don't want to get rid of those addresses. Um, is there any tips you can? I think I might just go ahead and schedule a
Good call.
consult with you.
No
You
worries.
know, yeah,
So
because
you have to have a flow. So I have a few questions for you. Are you sending the personal information letter request to the secondary bureaus as well?
I think it has. I'm sending out all three:
Okay.
the creditor, the
And the
credit
static
bureau,
letters
and
that you're
the.
saying.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
You said and the static letters?
Yes, I'm sending out all three. Yes.
Okay. All right. So I have a different flow. So one of the things that I definitely talk about all the time is you have to have a flow, because using the system and the software, some really easy. Other things you have to be a little bit more litigious about to make sure that it goes through the way that you want it to, right? So I've said this on the call before. I have no problem giving you this sauce for free. For me, I send out that personal information letter day 1, day 5, day 7, and I send it every 30 days that client is with me. Because so to me, I feel like the hardest things to remove are the addresses and the inquiries. A lot of times that's where you're getting a lot of pushback, because once an account is fully verified, it is my client's account. We're not talking trying to dispute. We're talking how we're going to have this settlement conversation, right? Like, how we going to start getting the money up to be able to settle this debt so that I can then start disputing this again, because I can get a settled paid debt off of your credit way faster than not. So a lot of these gurus out here are saying, don't pay anything. You don't have to pay this. You don't have to pay that. That's not true all the time. And if we're talking about statute of limitations, if we're talking about compliances, like, we need to be able to have a clear conversation outside of just the basic, I'm sending off these letters, because the truth of the matter is, what we're asking is anything that is in error, anything that is erroneous, anything that has been is no longer valid, i.e. the addresses. You are required to remove those informations. And a lot of times why they don't want to move it, like Mr. G said a couple of days ago, was, hey, isn't that a tactic for us to get the account removed? The credit bureaus are smart. They know that this is a tactic that we're leveraging to get accounts removed. So you have to be able to come up with additional workarounds that you are also tracking to help you get to the next level. But those are some great questions. Yeah, I don't really have a hard time with personal information because I personally, with the letters that go out every single month, it's there. But for the first 30 days that my client is with me, I'm sending that letter out often to the credit bureaus and to the creditor. And it's only the personal information that I'm asking about.
Got you. Yeah, because sometimes, well, here lately, I've been having the clients call
Mhm.
and you know, doing the clients call to go ahead and tell them, say, hey, you know, this is, I don't know why you had this on my credit report. Then they had the Pacific law in there, and then also too, I usually send the first round notarized.
Mhm.
So I tell them to tell the credit bureaus to look up, say, hey, I have a notarized document that's stating that this is my current address with the um driver's license attached to it. So this
Mhm.
is my legal address. I need you to, you know, get rid of all of the, you know, addresses that are not mine.
Mhm.
And that usually works. But you know,
So
sometimes
I'm not just saying get rid of ones that are not mine. I'm listing out all of the ones that are on the credit report that I can see. So with Dispute Panda and with Credit Dino, you're able to see a full 7-year report. So you can see all of the addresses for them. So I'm specifically telling the credit bureau, these addresses ain't mine. And I'm sending that same information, like all of the addresses, I'm sending to the secondary companies because the secondary companies will send me a report. So if you guys are sending the information to the secondary companies, they're sending you a report back. On the report, your client will be able to see what addresses each secondary bureau has for them. And in that letter, don't just say remove it. I'm telling you what you should remove. Are you putting the specific addresses in there as well, my love?
yes, I do have the client with their credit report, and I tell them that, you know, say, hey, I noticed that you have these on my credit report, and they list out the address. You know, it's telling them, I say, hey, I never lived there. I don't know where you got this from. You know, please remove the address.
So
Basically,
the
that's what they're saying.
did they live at that address though?
Yeah, but yeah.
So here's my thing. I act in honor. I don't never say anything about them not living there. That's just me. Because I want to make sure that I'm not asking you. I don't have to prove that I live there or not. I'm saying this is my current address. This is the only address that should be on file. Please remove all other addresses. And then I list those out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I just wrote that down, so I'm gonna change that.
Because my thing is I want them to act in honor and I want to act in honor as well. And I want to leverage the actual law on my side. Right. So to do that, I don't want to be dishonest in anything. Now, if there's an address that they seriously did not live at, like I'm telling y'all right now, I'm 42. I have literally got every single address in my life off. I have not lived at 19 Lloyd Street since I was 14. I am 42. I have managed to get every single address off but 19 Lloyd Street. And I promise you, y'all, I didn't have any bills name. Like, I have no idea how that address is on there, but for whatever reason, that address is on my credit report. And that address we lived at from when I was 5 until I was 14. I've managed to get my address off when I was 16. But again, I keep sending the letters out. But that's the only other address, and it's literally only showing up in one place. I do think that it has a lot to do with like, because I'm not a citizen, so I don't know if it has to do with like the attachment of my paperwork. So that's what I'm doing research for to see if that could be what the glitch is. Thank you so much, JM, for dropping my link. So yes, I'm super excited.
Yeah, I think that is too, because my brother, he has the same issue. He's from Jamaica,
Hey,
and my mom's my mom's address is stuck on his profile. And
yeah,
somebody told me that it's because of the is it green card? I forget whatever
yeah, start or
document he
something.
has
Mhm.
that's on public record or that's in the records, so that's why they keep that particular address on file.
That's what I'm thinking. Because when I say every, I have lived in the Bronx, I've lived in Queens, I've lived in Jersey. Heck, I lived in Montana for a year, y'all. All of them addresses are gone, but that one address is the only one that shows up. Again, I'm not super stressed about it. It was my parents live there. So it's not but that's the only thing that particular address is tied to is my residential alien paperwork. So my green card, you know what I'm saying? Like all of that is tied there. So I am doing a little bit more research to see if that could be the issue. But again, for me, it's not troubling what I'm doing. I still look clean because the only other address I have on there is my current one. So I'm okay with it. Yeah, KP is right. That's why it's not coming off. It's like, hey, we want to make sure we can follow you. They don't even leave my parents out of this. Leave my parents out of this. But it's all right. My dad said I will always be his baby. And apparently to the government, I will always live there. Okay. But any other questions or comments? Any other concerns? As I say, I will follow up with you guys tomorrow. I'm gonna reach out to Dominique tonight and tomorrow and get you guys an answer on Kong. And then if anyone has any questions or concerns, please let me know. It'd be my pleasure to go ahead and support. Oh, it says I'm about to time out. All right. So let me stop sharing. That's not what I said. All right. So thank you guys so much for coming today. If you guys don't have any additional questions, I am going to go ahead and give you back the rest of your night. I appreciate you showing up for this hour, showing up and showing out. I hope you guys have an amazing remainder of your week. Don't forget, stall letters are there. Do not forget that you guys are doing amazing work, changing lives every single day. I appreciate all that you do. And I hope to see you guys next Thursday. All right. Bye,
All right,
guys.
thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure. David, you need me for